This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 5th day of March in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The president of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mark Light, is confident that the GTU will be able to secure a substantial package for teachers when it meets with the Ministry of Education on its proposed multi-year agreement. The talks are expected to begin within 48 hours of the resumption of work by teachers, who are scheduled to return to their classrooms by tomorrow. The teachers were on strike for the past 4 weeks. The GTU called off the strike on Monday after an agreement was reached with the Ministry of Education during a court-ordered mediation. Under the pact, the two sides have agreed to consider, among other things, financial matters during their upcoming meetings. In an interview this morning on 94.1 FM, the GTU president said that with the backing of the court mediation, he believes the government will have to act.
I want to assure all our teachers, whether they are financial members or not of the teachers union, that we have laid it out very clear that these discussions will focus on the financial aspect and that we will aggressively pursue a swift conclusion on these negotiations, and our teachers would not be disappointed at the end of the day. We assure them that as we have been fighting so hard for them, that we will not renege on our responsibility to ensure that the package coming their way is something substantial that will improve their livelihood and their living conditions.
As part of the union's proposed multi-year agreement, which covers the period 2019 to 2023, the GTU is hoping to secure a 25% across-the-board salary increase for teachers for 2019 and a 20% increase for each of the remaining years. Mr. Light said since 2020, the GTU has been trying to engage the Ministry of Education and, by extension, the government on the proposed agreement. And while there was movement on a number of non-salary matters, there was no movement on the part of the government to engage in collective bargaining. He said it was the government's failure to address the substantive issue of salaries that resulted in a nationwide protest. And though it took an intervention by High Court Judge Sandal Kisoon to bring the two sides together in the form of mediation, the GTU president says he's hopeful that with an agreement in place, there will be moves to offer teachers a reasonable increase. However, he said he was surprised that it took an order by the court to get the government to a meeting with the union to discuss financial matters when critical hours of learning were being lost due to the nationwide strike.
I'm very surprised as a citizen and also the leader of one of the most vibrant trade unions in Guyana that it took this long, and it had to be that the judge of the High Court stepping in to order mediation. I was surprised that, good sense did not prevail earlier, because what was at stake were our children who were not being taught in schools, and because teachers were not there, and the government ignored, this kind of high-handed position that they adopted.
The government has argued that the two sides were also engaged, but Light maintains that those meetings dealt strictly with policy issues. Meanwhile, the issues relating to the threat by the government to cut the salaries of those teachers who were on strike and the discontinuation of the deduction of union dues by the government on behalf of the GTU remain before the court. The hearing in that case, brought by the union, is set to take place on the 20th of March.
The mediation process dealt specifically with the issue of resumption of talks with a view to arrive at collective bargaining, to honor that aspect of it. The matter before the court, we have every confidence that we have a strong case to prove that the system failed us in the initial stage. And I don't want to talk too much about the case in particular, but those matters were left before the court because we feel very strongly that the GTU has a solid case. In a statement, the Ministry of Education announced that teachers will return to the classroom and resume teaching as was mandated by the High Court mediation process on the 6th of March, tomorrow. While welcoming the decision to call off the strike, the Education Ministry said it was unfortunate that the matter had to be determined by the court. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana's agriculture sector is receiving tremendous support from oil companies to aid its expansion. Investment from oil companies in cutting-edge technology is increasing and improving Guyana's agricultural output. SBM Offshore Guyana and ExxonMobil Guyana Limited support two of the largest hydroponics farms in the country. Their support not only creates employment for Guyanese, but also helps CARICOM to reduce its food import bill by 25% by 2025.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool.
The Guyana Trades Union Congress has applied to the High Court to join the case brought against the government by the Guyana Teachers Union over the administration's decision to cut the salaries of teachers for engaging in industrial action and halt the deduction of union dues. At a press conference today at the Christian Labour College, the General Secretary of the GTUC, Lincoln Lewis, disclosed that the application was filed last Friday. He said as a federated body, it is important to represent its affiliate on matters of national importance, and the GTUC is prepared to argue in court that the teachers' right to collective bargaining is protected in the Industrial Labour Convention, the Constitution, and the laws of Guyana.
Today I wish to say to our nation teachers that you are not alone. We stand with you. We are proud of you. For today you are leading this nation in the spirit and will of your ancestors. You are walking along the pathway that they have cleared for you to fight using the weapons of the trade union legally against oppressors, against those who will exploit and undervalue your labor, and reward you only with the crumbs from the table whilst they benefit and enjoy your energy and sweat. Your struggle is just and legal and rightfully before the courts for adjudication.
The GTUC is being represented by Senior Counsel Royce Hill Ford. Ford said with the application being filed within a reasonable time, there is no reason why the Trades Union Congress should not be allowed to be a party in the matter. He said the GTUC is prepared to make its submissions in the public's interest.
These are significant and important issues which affect workers' rights across the length and breadth of this country, and I believe that the court will ultimately consider a favorable and appropriate application to grant.
He said one such issue is that of no work, no pay, as is being argued by the Attorney General, Anil Nandlal, the respondent in the matter.
In relation to what the Attorney General and the Chief Education Officer were saying, that if you strike, you don't have an entitlement to salary. I believe that that is a misapplication of the general principle. It is a principle that sounds fair, it sounds sensible, it sounds appropriate, but each principle or each legal contention operates in the context of the environment under which it is to be applied. And its application in this case, we believe, it is very inappropriate and it would be misconceived to apply it, as urged by the Attorney General. We're dealing here with a situation where the Guyana Teachers Union, as the principal union involved in this dispute, would have written a number of letters to the government seeking to engage in the concept and in the principles and the execution of collective bargaining. That would have gone on for years in the context of a proposed labor package for the years 2019 to 2023. We are in the year 2024 and the Guyana Teachers Union is still seeking to have those areas or that plan still implemented.
Forts to the strike must be considered in all that context. Meanwhile, GTU President Norris Witter, as well as the General Secretary, applauded the teachers' union on securing an agreement with the government to engage in collective bargaining after more than 3 years of resistance. The agreement was arrived at on Monday during a court-ordered mediation.
The decision of the court, a judge in the court, and the might of the teachers to bring the Ministry of Education and Guyana government to the table. They have said they have signed to the principle that they are prepared to operate in good faith. We believe that we must put them to the test. The teachers union must put the Ministry of Education to the test. Turn up at the table and let us see whether they believe in the things that they have signed on to.
Witter added that the agreement is a victory not only for the teachers' union, but all other unions in the country. The Ministry of Labor's Chief Cooperative and Development Officer, Janak Nath Mpanchu, has blocked the new management committee of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union from taking office until information regarding last Saturday's special general meeting and elections is provided. The outgoing Committee of Management, led by Karen Van Slytman Corbin, has protested last Saturday's elections, saying among other things that the meeting was illegal, since according to the outgoing committee, there was no quorum. Corbin and her team wrote to the Chief Co-op Officer detailing a number of alleged irregularities and requesting that the meeting and elections be nullified. Today, the Chief Co-op Officer wrote to the Chairman of the Special General Meeting, who is the current Vice Chairman of the Credit Union, Patrick Mentor, stating that it was brought to his attention that last Saturday's court-ordered meeting was not properly constituted. The officer has asked Mentor to provide the names of the list of persons that attended the special meeting, both virtually and in person, as well as a list of persons who voted. He said he was informed that the credit union has a membership base of 25,385 persons, and he wants Mr. Mentor to confirm that it is true reflection of the credit union's membership. He said unless the information is provided, the new members will refrain from assuming the duties of the Committee of Management or transact any business whatsoever on behalf of the credit union. He reminded that Regulation 17 and 21 of the Co-op Societies Act clearly states how a quorum is determined for a special general meeting and how a committee of management can be replaced. Yesterday, major drama erupted at the credit union's head office as the outgoing management committee refused to make way for the new management committee to take up its position. A team headed by former chairman of the credit union, Trevor Ben, won Saturday's special elections.
At the most critical life-changing moments, the National Insurance Scheme is here to ensure that your needs are covered. Access reimbursement for medical expenses for various aspects of your medical care. We know that eye care is of utmost importance. Receive assistance with our Spectacle Care voucher. Visiting the dentist? Dental care is also covered under our sickness benefit services. Offset the funeral expenses of a loved one with costs covered by our funeral benefits. National Insurance Scheme. We're there every step of the way.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
General Secretary of a new and united Guyana Senior Council, Timothy Jonas, today said the decision by the leader of the new movement to hold on to the joiner seat in the National Assembly, way past her allocated time, might be part of a plan by the ruling PPP government to keep ANUG out of the parliament and silence it going into the 2025 general and regional elections. At a press conference today at the Georgetown Club, Senior Counsel Jonas said he was informed that Kissoon, who was only expected to spend just 3 months in Parliament, was advised by the PP Civic to remain in Parliament, on the basis that due to the Memorandum of Understanding signed among the three parties, the ANUG, TNM and the Liberty and Justice Party, she cannot be challenged in court.
I have been informed, and I believe, that Dr. Kissoon received advice and encouragement from a lawyer who is closely associated with the PPP within their election machinery. And of course would be assured she can't be sued.
With just 244 votes, the TNM was expected to spend just 91 days in the rotating seat and then make way for the ANUG representative. However, it has been more than 180 days since the TNM leader has occupied that joiner seat in the parliament. While questioning the motive behind Dr. Kissoon's refusal to give up the seat, Mr. Jonas pointed to the fact that with 33 seats, the government holds a majority in the 65-member National Assembly. He reasoned that the 32nd seat held by TNM leader holds no power, and while it offers representatives from the joiner parties to represent their constituencies, there is no reason for Dr. Kissoon to breach the agreement.
There are people in Guyana who will never vote PPP, but they don't like APNU, and they may vote for a third party. There are people in Guyana who will never vote APNU. They don't like PPP, but they might vote for a third party. I believe that the PPP government is much more comfortable if there are only two parties going into the 2025 elections. I think they believe that in a face-to-face PPP APNU, they win. Whether they're right or not, I don't know. But I do know that the last time it was 5,000 votes. So it's important to take away any voice from the only third party that realistically is left here. Knowing United Guyana is the only feasible third party left.
ANUG's chairman Kian Jabor explained that following the resignation of the leader of the LJP, Lennox Schumann, from Parliament in March last year, ANUG, recognizing that the TNM was at risk of being kept out of Parliament altogether in the event of an early election, allowed TNM to occupy the joiner seat for its allotted period. He said in the absence of any formal agreement, Dr. Kissoon took several extensions and had indicated to ANUG that she would resign from Parliament with effect from the 29th of February, but has since reneged on that decision. He said she's now occupying Parliament illegally and has taken an undemocratic stance.
ANUG took pride in giving a young politician who had similar principles and values in the 2020 election to create a minority government the opportunity to represent her constituents. This has been now met with a complete defiance of our agreement, a complete lack of respect for our agreement, and a complete mistrust of the Guyanese people. At this point in time, I believe that it's a call for all Guyanese to step up at this point in time and understand that Ms. Kissoon is sitting in this parliamentary seat illegally. Okay, she is not representing any constituents. The votes that she has won have given her an allocated amount of time, which has passed. At this point in time, Ms. Kissoon is representing no one in Parliament.
It is also alleged that Kissoon had submitted her resignation but rescinded it. Jabor said Dr. Kissoon first displayed her lack of integrity when, ahead of taking up the seat in Parliament, she had agreed with ANUG that the post of Deputy Speaker should be occupied by the main opposition, but went ahead nonetheless and took up the position with the support of the government.
It's also known to the public that Ms. Kissoon is holding the Deputy Speaker's seat. This is a seat that ANUG and Ms. Kissoon spoke about prior to her going in, that we were hoping that she would take up the same principle as ANUG and not accept that deputy speaker seat, that deputy speaker seat should have gone to the largest opposition in Parliament, as they represent the largest constituent base.
Jabbour said Dr. Kissoon should do the right thing and relinquish her seat in the Parliament. As she was preparing to take up the seat in Parliament, Dr. Kissoon had complained that the LJP leader had refused to reduce the time in Parliament to accommodate her party.
Initially, we had conversations with Mr. Schuman and Arnold about sharing the seat 2 years, 1 year, 2 years. But unfortunately, the LJP were not willing to give up any of their time. And the irony is we ended up giving them some of our time.
Now Dr. Kissoon is maintaining her silence. Let's tell you now that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Senior Counsel Shalimar Ali Hack, has withdrawn murder charges against former police detective Derwin Eastman, 6 years after he was first charged and remanded to jail. The decision was reportedly based on the lack of evidence to get a conviction. Eastman was charged and remanded to jail in 2017 for the murder of businessman Godfrey Scipio, known as Saga. He was charged along with 2 other men based on the advice of the DPP. His co-accused, policeman Jemison Williams, was freed of the same charge in 2021 after a city magistrate found that there was not enough evidence tying him to the crime. Another man, Aubrey Bob, was also committed to stand trial in the High Court for the same murder. However, when his case was called in 2022, he admitted to the crime. Bob was sentenced to life in prison. It was the same Bob who had implicated the 2 policemen in the murder, telling investigators at the time that he was provided with a weapon by one of the policemen to carry out the murder. It is believed that his guilty plea might have triggered the decision for the withdrawal of the murder charge against former policeman Derwin Eastman. Eastman was preparing to stand trial in the High Court when the decision was made a few days ago. He was released from prison on Monday. The former police detective had always maintained his innocence of the murder charge and had claimed that he was set up by some members of the same Guyana police force that he served. Businessman Godfrey Scipio, also known as Saga, was shot dead on the night of the 12th of October in 2017 as he left a Kitty hotel in the company of a woman. A motive for his murder was not determined, but there had been a number of previous attempts on his life. CARICOM Chairman President Irfan Ali today announced that CARICOM, along with its international partners, has been working over the last few days to bring a resolution to the ongoing crisis in Haiti, which has been going on for decades, but reached an all-time high over the last few days when there was a massive jailbreak. CARICOM's statement comes hours after heavily armed gangs tried to seize control of Haiti's main international airport, exchanging gunfire with the police and soldiers. It is the latest of a series of violent attacks following the escape of more than 4,000 prisoners from 2 prisons in Haiti. Today, in a statement, President Ali, on behalf of CARICOM, said the lives and livelihood of the Haitian people are at stake and urgent intervention is needed.
CARICOM has been singularly focused on the events unfolding in Haiti over the last few days. The expanded bureau has been meeting separately with Prime Minister Henry, the stakeholders in Haiti, and our international partners to bring resolution to this highly complex matter, where persons' lives and livelihoods are at stake.
Haiti has already been burdened with crime, criminality, gang violence, high inflation, migration, and political instability for years. The country has for decades been a headache for CARICOM and other countries which have tried to intervene.
The complexity requires us in these consultations to ensure that a Haitian-led and Haitian-owned solution may be achieved as soon as possible. We remain deeply engaged and will update on the outcome of our deliberations as soon as practicable.
While CARICOM is trying to come up with ways to help Haiti, the Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry traveled to Kenya last week in an attempt to drum up support for a UN-backed security force to help stabilize Haiti in its conflict with the increasingly powerful criminal gangs. Already, it is believed that the gangs in Haiti control up to 80% of the Haitian capital of Port-au-Prince.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Gaya's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Gaya Oil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. Haiti's neighbors on Monday began shoring up their defenses and recalling embassy staff as a gang conflict in the Caribbean nation escalated and thousands fled fresh fighting, Reuters said in a report. On Sunday, Haiti's de facto government issued a 72-hour state of emergency and imposed nightly curfews after armed men busted thousands from prison, and a gang leader called for the ousting of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti and last year deported tens of thousands of Haitians, said on Monday that its defense minister was touring the border to supervise progress on a border fence, while the president ruled out opening refugee camps for Haitians in the country. The violence erupted while Henry was absent. Doubts had arisen over Henry's whereabouts after he traveled to Kenya to seal a deal for the African nation to lead an international force to help fight the increasingly powerful gangs. Heavy gunfire was seen near Port-au-Prince's International Airport during the day, airport authorities said. The United States urged its citizens to leave Haiti as soon as possible. A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department said he believed Henry was returning to Haiti. Brazil's government called on the international community to implement the UN resolution to send a multinational force to Haiti. Brazil authorities noted in a statement that it had led a United Nations peace mission to Haiti from 2004 to 2017. A large quantity of drugs was seized by law enforcement in St. Martin during a recent operation. The Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard reported customs officers suspected that a container aboard a vessel that visited the port of St. Martin last week was carrying illicit items. Consequently, they requested the assistance of the Coast Guard for a joint inspection of the suspicious container. Upon inspection, they discovered 20 bales of drugs with approximately 470 kilograms of marijuana, the Coast Guard reported. The drugs were handed over to the police and it was later destroyed. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. And finally tonight, international news. Facebook and Instagram went down in what appeared to be a massive outage of parent company Meta's platforms. People trying to log on to the websites and apps were finding error messages and were unable to refresh their feeds as normal, according to the BBC. Tracking website Down Detector indicated more than 300,000 reports of outages for Facebook, while there were more than 20,000 reports for Instagram. Multiple countries around the world were affected. Meta has been approached for comment. Its own status page suggests that the products are experiencing major disruptions. In a statement, it said it was aware of the issue impacting Facebook logging and that its engineering teams were actively looking to resolve the issue as quickly as possible.
And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.